All riggedy right. Ladies and gentlemen, a happy Monday morning to you. August the 10th, 2026, right? As we get ever closer, not only to the end of summer, we're still in summer, right? For those who like to fast forward time, August, September, and then you get into October or maybe November. I don't know which one this year. Let me see which one this year when they're going to play the fall back clock thing here. Let's just check this real quick while we're on our feet. November 1st. November's going to be a hopping month. And again, like we do with, like we did last time with the presidential election, we're going to do the same thing here with this one. We probably won't be doing an episode around that time because people's minds are going to be they're going to be way too blocked up or distracted to be paying attention to the words of truth, because unfortunately we have sucked down Miss Syrup. This is how you boy. When we first started this podcast, family, this is how we talk. We understand people going to have a problem how we talk. We on TikTok personally, because we want to kind of give it right to the source. We want to, again, we same thing we do with the King James Version of the Bible. We like going straight to the source. We understand with deconstruction today and folks doing more disproving of God and all that kind of stuff. What we like doing is proving the goodness of God that leads people to repentance. That's the part we like to stay in. We get the idea of certain of these things with the black towns destroyed and all that kind of thing. We don't discredit that one at all. But the part we do want to look in, because again, this is about a balanced view over here. And there are many things inside the script, aka the scripture, that will give us life. That's the part we want to time in on, over here on this podcast, right? We got a lot of different podcasts all over the place, right? Of course, we joke on our boy Obafemi as being a wrestling fan, right? For him going on Stephanie McMahon's podcast and wanting to big up Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, right? And Mr. David Goggins. And now all of a sudden that he's the next big thing in WWE. But at the end of the day, we know for a fact when you talk about operating in master system, and we like saying it plainly that way, when we're operating master system, we're on the front, we're the face. But we're not the owner. We're not the one. We're not them ones. Family, they are, right? We know this. With that said, welcome in, family. Us a different view family today, man. This one's gonna be a good one. This one's gonna be a good one because it's gonna strike at the heart of how people think about one of the 9 points of activity, right? Which is labor. So we're going to go in today because today is National Lazy Day, family, right? Happy National Lazy Day out there. So again, let's get back to the open. Welcoming us a different view family who believe in, who love after, who hunger and thirst, search and seek to find that which is a different view. Family, welcome in. Excuse me 1 second. We just want to do something real quick. All right, and we're back. We just had one of these things where my phone was overheating, so we just want to take away all the things that may cause the phone to overheat here as we're talking on things of life and godliness today. So the word lazy, we said with, today's topic that you see there in the highlight, it is National Lazy Day. Now, of course, when you go to look up things on this, it's for taking rest. And, just to talk on this topic here really quick, rest is necessary, right? We shout out those who are okay resting. We know we're talking this Monday morning and everybody's getting to work and they're doing what they got to do for the man. Because again, the paycheck you getting pales in comparison to the one they making off you. But at the end of the day, family, we getting to work and we doing for them and, doing for ourselves and doing for our families and the normal things that we say to each other. But at the end of the day, family, right? We got to know how to rest. We got to know how to help ourselves get better, right? And be mentally prepared, physically prepared, right? Because you can't do this work if you're down and out. And of course, we also want to introduce the definition of lazy and put it in and around the context of the life we live in, right? The real reality of the environment that you work on, right? That I work on, in order for us to have a fuller view, right? A different view of what's going on here. So, unfortunately, these are also things that have been put inside, and welcome in, family, right? Who come into the podcast right now. Welcome in. Where you can find the podcast, we want to put that out there, right? Of course, here on TikTok, we'll do TikTok lives from here and there, right, of the podcast. So at KJ's Clock, right? And we see people following your boy. We thank you for your support, family. It can never be said enough that this thing does not work without the worker. We can talk about the employee. Again, we said today the topic is on the word lazy, right? We're wrapping it around National Lazy Day because, again, we need to rest. But unfortunately, because we have sipped syrup for so long, Massa's syrup, right? Massa's drink, that at the end of the day, right? Like the Jesus juice they used to talk about back in the day, right? We have done that so much now, we've confused rest with lazy, and it's dangerous, right? It's very dangerous. And like Malcolm X used to say, we have this complex now, Massa's hurting, so we hurting, or Mass is lazy, so we lazy. And that's what we want to deal with today, right? Because again, unfortunately, this was some stuff spread to our elders, right? Because you think about it back in the day, family, when they sung the song Working on the Railroad, right? And they had all different people, normally dark brown and tan skin tone folks. Those were at the top of the list. We know that's not the only group. But again, we talking about those at the top of the list. At the end of the day, family, we was on that thing all day. And you up in the house, you up in Massa's house, right? We're talking about, between the difference between the field and the house black person, right? Because again, sometimes TikTok got a problem with certain words, even though they use other very disgraceful words in their videos here that are on TikTok. So we'll say, again, the house and the field black person. So you was in Massa's house all day, just like you was in Massa's field all day, all the live long day. That's how they have you, family. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Right? And again, we're confusing lazy for rest. We're confusing lazy for peace. But we're going to go into it. We're going to show you some document today. I finally get a chance to talk about this book here, right? Now, again, we're on TikTok, so sometimes they get a little funky when you search this certain word here, although it is the historical reference, right? So we'll say it once. We'll see if they get us once. Negro. Okay? That word is a historical reference to people. Spoken by our Latin brothers and sisters. That means black. Because there's a bunch of us who are black. Or as they say in Spanish, negro. Okay? Just to clear that up here. Because again, you got a platform here that is saying they have videos that say worse than that. They're never taken down. They're right there. Got people in the background with music videos saying the word. Never taken down. Let's just get into, before I get into what the word lazy means. Where you can find the podcast, of course, KJ's Clock. Also on Spotify, Apple, and Pandora at a different view. That's not at a different view. That's the name of the podcast. Of course, me, KJ, right? That's the artist name. Then you'll also find it on YouTube at a different view 80. That's the name of the channel where you'll see all the different references. We want to shout out real quick all the different nations that are following your boy right now. Because family, when you look at it, man, I mean, Good Lord, man. I mean, we're we're all over, and I am I'm humbled, man. I am encouraged, right? And we take this with a very serious level of gravity here for those who rock with your boy in listening to this thing, right? Again, family, it cannot be said enough that we do this thing together. We do this thing together. This is not a individual achievement only goes but so far, family. You understand that? I have to put that out there because this is very real. While, like, you know, in the hood, we say, you know, get in where you fit in. That's all well and good, family. But when you really want to bring out the teeth, when you want to bring out the teeth of this, again, how it's said by your our brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam, how it's said by your native brothers and sisters, no matter where all over the world, right? Especially the ones here in North America, that devil, you really want to bring out the teeth of that devil, start doing things together. Again, it happens when we do singular achievements, you know, like you own your own home. And we seen that video a couple of years ago where the woman came up on the home and I don't think you live here. Right. And they both, you know, she got her babies with her. Unfortunately, you spread this mess to the youth and they going around and going around and going around screaming all over the neighborhood like, help me. You know, just that foolishness. Right. You know, so these things, you will see the attack individually, but man, we're talking about the stuff that makes it historically on the books. Oh yeah, that's when we start coming together. Towns start to get burned down and you know, the mass destruction. You ain't got to worry about no nuclear weapons, man. I mean, mobs of people. That's mass destruction right there. That's they are the weapon of mass destruction, family, right? So that's where that's let us come together as people, right? And we can reach better heights, right? And get ourselves in position to pass down better wealth together and educate ourselves as we go along with this thing. So some of the places geographically where your boy is heard, right? Right here, we're just looking just on the deal here. In all platforms, Japan and the U.S. Now, there was another thing that I had here pulled up that this is not showing all of the locations, but literally, right? And again, you can see Apple Podcasts, you can see Pandora's there, right? You see Spotify is there. People actually listen to this thing through Spotify for Creators, of course, on the web browser. Again, family, we thank you so much for rocking with your boy, man, for showing that support. There are places where we're heard over in the Caribbean. I saw we're heard over in the Middle East, right? We've talked about that before. We're heard over in Europe. Again, family, the word of truth reaches all over the place. This is how this is supposed to work. This is how this is supposed to work. We hear so much mess all day long, whether it be some presidential address about how this is the best nation ever and blah, blah, blah. This nation was the best ever before Europe came calling. That's when it was doing great. It got real good for Europeans by the time they came here. Unfortunately, they did have to deal with some barriers in the way that it seemingly seemed like they got over, which was all the different people groups living here. Just to be blunt. Right. And it's seemed like for this whole time that they've been subdued very well, whether we're fighting each other, so on and so forth. See, this thing is about living harmoniously, family. Listen to what I said now. See, because again, defenses in the mind are very high. We're going to introduce some scriptures into this as we're talking. And again, do not sit in the seat of the scornful. See, again, we understand the part here with Christianity taking around the world to put the world in captivity. We understand that. Over here, we like to talk about the parts to help set people free. Do not sit in the seat of the scornful. The word scorn means to mock. The more that we keep mocking the natural effect of life, we are doing damage to ourselves. When we don't, we're doing good for ourselves. It's that simple. The word lazy, family. Let's just get into it, right? Let's get into the word lazy. Out of Oxford's dictionary means unwilling to work or be active, doing as little as possible. This is from, Oxford's Learner's Dictionary is how this is simple search. This is very easy. Again, family, those who are calling people lazy, we have to be careful. This, when we talk about the economy, and our hearts go out to those who are going through these fires up west, right? And in Canada, we've already talked about the ones that affected our native brothers and sisters in Canada just a little while ago, man. We hope for restoration and safety, right? And peace for y'all through this time of high testing. But this word lazy here, which is normally what helps rebuild towns after fires have destroyed them down, whether naturally or done by humans, right? We've spoken on Oklahoma as being the hub. Again, this is something you can look up historically, very simple. It was the before Atlanta, right? Before Georgia, right? Before that, before the Carolinas, we talking Oklahoma was the hub of Black civilization, Black culture. That's where you came when you wanted to make it. You look it up. We've already talked about it on episode before, so y'all can go back in the archives to find it, right? We've already told you. Apple, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and of course here on TikTok. Right? Unwilling to work or be active. Doing as little as possible. Family, when you're on, again, the 9 points, we just want to say this. Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., many times the information is already there and we are failing an open book test. This is me included, right? And we all have areas in our lives where we need to improve. So we're not on here to make fun of anybody. We're on here to help each other, right? Whether this becomes popular or not, so be it. But this is to be impactful and purposeful, right? Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics or government, right? To go back to number 4, labor or employment, right? Working, which is what lazy is involved with. Religion is number 7, or belief. Again, I like separating the two. Religion is an organization wrapped around what you believe in. This is off the definition of the word religion. Once you get past all the stuff where it's telling you about belief, all the time when you look up religion in whichever dictionary, it always comes back to an organization around it. So while it's cool for the Catholic Church to finally come out, the Pope finally to come out to say, hey, we had a hand involved in slavery, Black folks knew that the whole time. So does your Latin brother and sister. They kind of knew that the whole time. Right? And while that's what you're supposed to do, that's the entry level of acknowledgement to the mess, that you gave an okay for the rest of this mess to occur. That now today we still overworking like our ancestors overworked back then. This has zero to do with lazy. While that is a real thing in life. And while we know some lazy folk, okay, but the people who we are calling lazy, we are not calling lazy, is who we should start calling lazy. Your boss is sitting up there in that office while you work, family. Do you understand that? Master's the one who sits on the porch, arms folded while you work, family. You understand that? We're saying what it is. This isn't conjecture. We're telling you that's what it is. You're the one putting it. You're the talent. We talk about this many times and allude to this when we're talking about musical talent. Everybody out there, they're doing the thing. Snoop, we seen it on the video, right? Snoop Dogg talking, he's talking that talk, right? The math ain't mathing. Yeah, it's not when it comes to streaming. Why do you think? Because the man is there with his arms folded. These are his services that we're putting our talent on, our labor on, and he's making that bank and we kind of make it. This is the system that they've created. That's not the one that has been made by the creator, family. This is the one that, or if you're talking from your native brother and sister, the Great Spirit, right? Or if you're talking with your Muslim brother and sister, Allah, right? Or whichever, Buddhist, Hinduist, however they're saying it. That's not how it's created. That's how the man made it. So again, number 7, religion or belief, right? Okay. Probably better said is religion, because these organizations around built around what we believe in is it gets a little dangerous. It gets really dangerous. Sex, right? So, excuse me, we're on TikTok, schmex, right? So schmex, or gender, really is how that should be said, right? And unfortunately, we like to do this dance between men and women, or which one of them is like, no. People overwork, family. Now, again, are there folks who do not want to or unwilling to put in work? Yeah, we know they're unwilling to put in activity. We get it. But for real, what we talking about? No, people overwork. You can't expect a woman to do the work, take care of the babies. Look, this was the same thing back then, too. Like on the frontier, you know, while you had your boomer sooner come in during the land rush, taking the land from the folks who were already living there, talking about, hey, we're here now, post it up. You can't see, we like doing a dance around that thing, family. But again, for the indigenous folks, for all the people who were here when that mess was happening, that was the cruel reality for them. That we like to play a dance around now. When we be like, yo, my granddaddy was on the frontier and he was doing real blah, blah. What about Chief, this, that, and the other's grandfather? What about them? Nothing. Yeah, we know. See, again, this is in their system, family. This is how this works. This is what these are the kind of things we want to bring across, because you don't hear enough of this. You don't. Well, this is not lashing out against YT people. Again, if you stand with your brother and sister, this is now the time. Right. This is the chance in history now where we get to take that stand again. Again, history repeats itself. This is another one of those times. This is it. And it doesn't matter who's in government. There always is a time, always, to take a time to stand for folk. No matter who it is, your transgender brother and sister, your homosexual brother and sister, your black brother and sister, your Latin brother and sister, your Eastern, Western brother. It doesn't matter. Right. So gender, again, it's just the same thing for the man. Don't you know the man is overworked? We're not talking about the lazy baby daddies that don't want to be involved with their kids. We're not talking about those, right? We have to come under the banner of banding together with these things. So again, gender, war is the next one, right? When you look at the word war is dealing with confusion, the Proto-Germanic part of the word war. When you get past the battlings, battle is battle, and war is confusion, according to your Proto-Germanic brothers and sisters. Again, words and phrases is something we just don't like paying attention to. We like staying in this autopilot mode mentally, and again, the man knows it, and we're getting screwed on it. And the last one was added on by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, right? Thank you, dear sister, for your addition to this list here. Which is health. Healthcare. Family, in each one of these people areas of activity, the man has the majority ownership in it. Let's say it that way, right? He is the majority owner. Like on a sports team, right? You know, like the Giants, to talk about the Tishes or whichever organization, right? I'm a Cowboys fan, so, you know, and again, football season coming up. So we like using football analogies, right? Same thing for everybody who likes to hold down the weapon of defense, right? And conceal and what's concealed. Family, again, listen, each one of these states has a different way of doing things. Be careful how you do stuff, right? I'm almost positive there was a famous story that just happened a little while back ago where a brother served time, even though he was a moron with again, the weapon of defense, right? In a nightclub, if I'm not mistaken. But again, what was okay in one place is not okay in another. Know the laws of the state you're in. This is for me like anyone else, because they're going to hem you up on it if you don't. Right? And healthcare is one of them. This includes each people group, different thing, different strokes for different folks, as it has been said. So we're going to have to know how health works for black folks, like health works for YT folks, or for Latin folks, or for Asian folks. Certain cultures have already paid attention to this kind of thing. And this is me included. As we continue to learn on the path of health, we got to know what works for us, what liquids work for us, what foods work for us, what vitamins work for that. This is just what it is. So again, number 10 was healthcare. Again, lazy day. And again, while we need to rest It's all well and good. The definition of the word lazy, just getting back into it, unwilling to work or be active, right? Doing as little as possible. Another part of it here, right, is not involving much energy or activity. Anybody on the job who is overworked knows the difference between those who are involving much energy or activity and those who are not. And it's normally right about the time that you call on your boss to help you with something and they tell you you can figure it out, that you start to realize that you are not lazy, they are. And they hide behind an excuse for it. You have to accept that in your heart and mind in order to go further in a line of thinking that is not full of conjecture. It is not conspiracy. It is the reality that you live in the labor system that the man has made and benefits by. We did a podcast a while ago about not being exploited with our exploits. And that is the truth. This is the way this has been designed for them to profit off our profits, family. Let's get into the etymology of the word to lay this down here before we play some videos for folks and so on and so forth. Lazy, this is from the 1540s, right? Again, very simple. I'm not doing anything that's all these words that they use in the church, right? And this is no homiletical, hermeneutical study. This is very simple. Okay. 1540s, spelled Laysy, right? Of persons averse to labor, action, or effort. A word of unknown origin in the 19th century thought to be from lay as a verb, as tipsy from tip. This is just, again, I'm just reading off of Edom Online. But again, this is how simple the knowledge is. This is how easy it is to find it. We don't want to. I want to. I'm tired of living in a society that's like, and just agreeing with it. This is trash. The reason that, again, we're a couple of weeks away from Labor Day, family, the reason that you see everything that you saw, and again, this people activity, which is labor, the reason why you see it is because you got a people group here who is okay profiting off your profits. They are lazy. You are not. You are overworked. The way I've heard it said, overworked, underpaid, and stressed out. That's exactly what it is. Which is why we lean and rely on certain elements that are down here in this earth a little too much. There's nothing wrong with drinking. We'll just say water for the fun of it, right? Because again, we're on TikTok, so we don't know what they're going to say or not say that you can or cannot say. Right? Et cetera, et cetera. But we can misuse things, and they are to our detriment in doing so. Again, I did not say those things were wrong. I said misuse. Matter of fact, in the script, right? We say the scriptures in the script. Paul is telling Timothy to drink some wine for your ailment, right? We have to, again, there is a place where we go out of balance, and then there is a using something to help us that has been naturally put here for us to use. Just saying with it, many cultures across the world already know this. There's just some that's slow to the pace many times because we're listening to what massa is telling us instead of listening to this earth that has been given to us for us to use. So again, lazy tongs is another one of these things. Came out in 1785 as an instrument. This is what it says: an instrument like a pair of tongs for old or very fat people to take anything off the ground without stooping. This is not to make fun of old folks or those who are, who are overweight. But family, at the end of the day, again, devices are made that we have to be careful of. The lazy man's load, right? This is said in 1788 edition. The author here talks about the phrase, the lazy man's load. Lazy people frequently take up more than they can safely carry. Let's pause here to talk about this. You don't get a bonus on your job for doing well. Maybe unless you do. Maybe you do. right? Maybe some do, but doing more and going above and beyond. I haven't seen like a $10,000 bonus. I haven't heard it from nobody yet, where you're starting to get crazy bonuses for doing way above and beyond for somebody. So what is the point in doing all of this? Again, like as it says here, taking up more than you can safely carry. You can hurt your own body doing that. You hurt your own physical body doing that. No need to do that. There's no need to do that. To save the trouble of coming back a second time. They say coming a second time, or coming back for whatever you're doing the second time. Again, working harder, or excuse me, not working harder, working smarter. This is how do you know, again, in the scripture, it tells you Jesus is talking, saying, how does the strong man come up in the house? Someone has to recognize that they can do this thing a better way in order to take from you. They caught you sleeping somewhere, so they was able to get up in that thing and take it from you. And this is exactly how we are in the scenario we're in. To the original folks here who's living on these lands, we must say this. This is time to learn this thing, to understand how to protect ourselves, not to do it. See, again, it's unfortunate that certain people had to speak certain things like a great replacement theory. We ain't trying to replace nobody. That's the other way around. We're not trying to replace. The sharing is really sharing. This is why when we speak on integration, family, it's a little bit of a farce. Man's integration is superseding what was already the natural integration. We're already living down here with each other. But when they get involved, you got to go. That's the simple base truth to all this stuff when we're dealing with ICE. You got to go. Yeah, they've made up rules as far as who's legal and family on the books. We know there was a group already here, and then a group who wasn't, who then came here and made up laws about who can't be here or how they can be here. Who are you to start regulating it when you just came here? But it's cool. We can keep dealing in the person who does not deal honestly. And this is where we're going to start getting into this word honesty. And then maybe we'll wrap up here with this thing about we'll give you some verse off of what you're about to hear, and then go from there. Because again, in this case, we are dealing with folks both in the church and not, that are not speaking and dealing honestly. So let's go.
Don't do that to me. You tell me the truth. I refuse to deal with liars. I pray for you from afar. I don't want to have nothing to do with you, because I deal in the truth and you dealing with a lie. If you don't like me, fine. You don't want my children around your children. Long as our kids are in armed little babies, then we don't have a problem. When they start getting the big up teenagers, when they start getting eyes for each other and want to date and all that, then you want to start playing funny. Well, be honest about it. Tell me from day one that you don't like black folk and you don't want the possibility of some black folk in your family. Tell me that now. Okay. All right, let's go on.
So, and this may spin off to talking about the Willie Lynch letter down the road. We may break it down a bit. I think I might have done it a while ago, but again, repetition is necessary for learning. And just in case I didn't, we may read from the excerpt that is the faux, all right? Historically, they say it's faux, it's fake, but it's not. You may say the actual document is fake, but the reality of what is being done is very real, and we can see it. We can see it. So that you heard is an excerpt here from Dr. Frederick K.C. Price, right? A very famous minister back in the day. Again, may you ever rest in the peaceful arms of Jesus, brother. But the truth that he had to say while he was here is very impactful. Very impactful. And We're going to read from some of the verses that he was talking about. This was during a message that he had entitled a series of messages, right? The series, basically, race, religion, and racism. The system we live in, family, is based off these things. This is what's been created from the monetary, from the working, all of it. The more that stand up against that, the better this is going to be. Not worse. And yeah, sometimes it get worse before it get better. But the better. Whether it's in how apartment complexes treat the tenants, whether it's in how the HOA system treats the homeowner, whether anywhere. It's about honesty. Let's look at the word honesty here real quick. Just before we get going, so that we can build a baseline for what we're talking about here. I think I have done honesty's definition here before, but we're just going to do it again. So telling the truth, being fair. This is off of Merriam-Webster's stuff here. Being fair, right? Telling the truth and refusing to cheat, lie, or steal. Way before, since I'm a wrestling fan, way before they put this moniker on Eddie Guerrero, right? That he lies, cheats, and steals. There's the OG lie, cheat, and stealer, which, as our native brothers and sisters called them, was the Wasatchu. The stealers of the fat. The takers of the fat, family. They're the OGs with this. So before you start them saying what, again, black folks is shiftless and lazy, or before they start talk, or, sometimes we get this inter-war here. Again, war is confusion. You get this inter-thing here between the cultures, which they sit back, arms folded, laughing at that. I mean, laughing at that. So you'll have like our Latin brothers and sisters sitting here talking about which black folks are lazy, or maybe their own people who are other cultures that listen, while you're overworked. You're being overworked. Yeah, it's great that you can take the money and take it and give it back to your family in Mexico and all that kind of stuff. Again, overworked. While they sit there and they call the government on you to go take you somewhere else. Good God, help somebody today. Hear this. We're done on the mess. On purpose, they will hire you and then call these. How many different videos we've seen online, family? And then call them to take you away. Profiting off your profits. Again, tell the truth. Be fair. See, this deals with this bias thing. Life is unbiased, family. You know that? The people are not. They're talking about like, I think there's a typhoon over in China, some storm that just happened recently, which again, we pray for restoration, right? And we know our Asian brothers and sisters have no problem banding together to rebuild, man. So we pray and hope that y'all have rebuilding over there, right? Being fair and refusing to, on penalty of death, pain and death. This is how it used to be said back in the day. This is standing on your square, family. This is how we say it in the streets. Stand honesty. So some of the verses he was going to read, let's just get into it, right? This is in Hebrews chapter 13, right? This is the famous chapter that has the verse in it, Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. Get down to verse 9, right? Be not carried about with different and strange, say weird, right? The word weird, when you look at it, which is really cool when I started looking at it, the word weird means different from what's normal, right? That word normal. Especially during COVID times, we just want to get back to normal. Family, what does the word normal mean? Well, your brother already did some of the work for us, right? During this time of listening. At the end of the day, when you look at the word normal means a rule or standard setup. Whose standard is going back to normal? You want to go back to the way the masses telling you how to do things? Or how life and godliness has been built? Again, normal for another person is going to be different than yours. You know that? It's going to be different than mine. And it's okay, because they're all normal. Again, when you sit in the seat of the scornful, this is where we start to discredit someone else, which we shouldn't. life is lived with different normals. See, again, be careful of these different strange doctrines. When you talk about the faith movement and the prosperity movement, neither one is wrong, family. Do you know what's wrong? By not teaching the balance. Believe God for your healing, but don't discredit the doctor that can give you healing. The brain that's in and especially we're happy to see the increase in black doctors, dark brown and tan skin tone doctors across this planet, right? We're happy to see the increase in dark brown, tan skin tone lawyers. Again, we're talking about operating massive systems. So the balance is to see other people coming into this thing, right? When we talk about Asian culture and the stuff that we pull off of, because we do, we're pulling from, and it's okay, right? And where there's places to learn from them. This goes for us all, me included, which I have no problem doing and want to know more. See, I need to know and be helped in knowing and doing more, the same as the rest of us. Again, we have bought into an individualistic way of doing things. It's dangerous. This is about doing things together as well. Yes, there's only a thing that I can do, but there's also a thing not only that I can do, that we can do. When we do not buy into that, listen, family, very clearly to your brother. Right? Brother to some, uncle to others, nephew, cousin to others, right? When we do not buy into doing this thing together, we're screwing ourselves. So again, Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. Be careful listening to these strange doctrines. There is a story in black culture that is called the YT. We're on TikTok, so we have to say this a certain way. The YT man's ice is not colder, or I think is colder, something like that. And the thing of the story is that this is speaking specifically to buying into each other's businesses and not going to other ones thinking that theirs is better because it's massa. This is breaking certain mentalities in order for us to profit better. We're not in business to create businesses to toss us out. That's what they do. We're in businesses to band each other together. This is the foundational thing by which we have to do this, y'all. Again, we can go against it and say that this is pseudo. We can do that. We've been doing that. And that's why they're on top right now. That's why they're able to tell you what you can do at the job right now. You stand up against all the messes going on. Again, this is individual as compared to collective. It looks different when there's more people. Be not carried away with strange and different doctrines that are strange. They're weird, family. I was talking with the missus yesterday, and we're talking about kids and school in different places of the world starting back up, right? On the East Coast, it'll be September. In the Midwest, it's right about now, right? Thank God some of these kids, and shout out to these teachers, another part of labor, right? Shout out to teachers one time. They got to deal with bratty kids raised by bratty parents who are okay letting them run around and hurt each other the same way the adults run around and hurt each other. Again, we're not talking down to anyone. We're talking the truth of a thing that we all have a responsibility to. For the parents who do put in the time and the work to not have, it's the same thing with dog owners. You know that? We're not comparing kids and dogs, but we are saying where the similarities are. Everybody thinks they're Cesar Millan and they're walking their dogs all over the place. Shout out Cesar Millan, right? And again, brothers, before like the defensive rant, this brother's just ranting. Rant means to talk about stuff that's just got nothing to do with nothing. You're just babbling. This ain't babbling. This is talking about life. We're just saying what it is. This is talking about life. But when you sit in the seat of the scornful, that's where you're going to misuse words to then put in a pocket somewhere where we can kind of escape from the truth of a thing. We're walking around here like dog owners, like Cesar Millan, right? Some dog whisperer somewhere thinking that all dogs have different personalities just like humans do. All these dogs is no. You got to know your own canine and be responsible for your own canine or canines. Because we got some people got like 3, 4, 5 dogs, just wild stuff. And right about the time when we're not in control of it, this is where some dog fight is happening. Somebody got bit, someone's getting hurt, or even worse. Because we are not careful on what we're doing. But KJ, things just happen. See, again, the more we keep giving defenses to a thing and excuses to a thing, the more this mess occurs. We got to stop doing that. Get all the way down to verse 18 in Hebrews chapter 13. Pray for us, for we trust we have a good conscience in all things, willing to live honestly. Let's see if we can pull up honest, right? Because honesty is coming from the word honest. What the etymology of the word honest means. Meaning honorable, respected, or decent. Let's go a little bit further, right? That's from the Latin word honestus, Honestus, right? Respectable, decent, of neat appearance. This is coming out of the 1300s where this word is seen here. Also free from fraud. All right, we all know for those who are Family Guy fans, right? And you've got this skit here that Seth MacFarlane made where you got the insurance guy back in the day when Family Guy first started, and insurance fraud, right? We're making fun of the word fraud. Again, honest, virtuous, respectable. You know, when the car dealer is making his deals, family, all of them deals is not honest. If you get mad at your brother right now, the history of car dealership speaks for itself. Bad deals happen all the time for folks. This also includes us being good to go financially, right? So our credit scores got to be right when we roll up in these places, because they're going to hustle you down. And we ain't trying to accept no deals, but what is a lower car payment for us. That's it. That's it. Again, we can talk around that all day long. That's where it's got to be. We got to have the money got to go back in our pocket, not theirs. It's got to be, at the very least, it's got to be equal, family. Dealing fairly. And this is of the main modern sense now. Dealing fairly, truthful, free of deceit. Lies, tricks, and deceit is how it's said from our brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam, right? And again, apologetics, me as a Christian, apologetically, which also means building a defense for, but as apologetics meaning the study of the groups, right? I'm not going to sit here and talk about who's the one and not pay attention to the other groups, by which I am saying who I believe in is the one. And also, because I'm operating humbly, we're not going around saying, hey, I believe in this is the one. No, I'm not doing that. Which is why when you see some of these videos of last year, some group of Christians sitting here making fun of our Muslim brothers and sisters while they praying, teasing them with bacon and all this kind of crap. What are we doing? What are you doing for real, for real? We talked about just recently that this year there's a woman over in Europe, right? Where a couple brothers is trying to pray. It's shown right here on TikTok. What are we doing? Just mocking them. No, you guys are wrong. Can we stop listening to what the man want us to listen to? So every time they keep talking at these villains, it's the Chinese, and it's always some brown folks. They don't never, ever, even all these battles, you don't see them going up in occupying England, occupying Ireland somewhere, trying to, you know what I'm saying? We trying to take natural resources from Scotland. You don't see nothing. It's always where it's dark brown and tan skin tone. But family, historically, that's where they go. Never mind. So again, we're talking about no deceit here. Ain't no honestly. Willing to live honestly. People just don't want to. Next one here, right? This is in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 8. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it here. Lost me place. I should have highlighted. I should have gotten the highlighter like what they do, right? I should have had it highlighted so this way I could find it when I came back to it. Providing for honest things. Here we go. Verse 21 in 2 Corinthians chapter 8. Providing for things honestly. Let's go to 20 because this is important, right? Avoiding this. Well, see, KJ, somebody always going to talk about the Catholic Church, and it says in the Bible that we're blessed when people talk down on us. Yeah. Avoiding this, that no man. Again, we know there's women down here too, so that no one. Right? And kids too, that no man should blame us in this abundance, which is administered by us. Now, of course, you look at the rest of the chapter. It's the spiritual blessings. Family, we're talking about the physical things we down here do you know how much money the Catholic Church has? Do you know how much money all these different denominations have? Given it shall be given unto you. The churches need to start. Oh, we got a couple of food donations. No. We went into this neighborhood and we talked to these many underprivileged. We talking hospitals, and we've seen the hospitals. The different ones are owned by this, that, and the other. Libraries, supermarkets. Right? Again, legal representation with affordable. See, again, honesty is missing here. Deceit is involved in this. Which is why you're going to charge things the same way Massa do, which is overcharging things. That's what they do. Stealers of the fat, overcharging things. So again, avoid this, that no man should blame us in this abundance, which is administered by us, providing for honest things. Not only, my God, not only in the sight of the Lord, but also, see, people are just telling on us at this point. This is brothers and sisters fighting, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 9 years old, right? Whatever. Fighting with each other, doing the wrong, the one really doing the wrong, even antagonizing, going back and forth and telling mommy and daddy, mommy, daddy, he hit me, he kicked me. Come on now. We're talking about the kids going back. Man, teachers need to get paid more, family, for this, just off this mess they have to deal with. This ain't just like, this will come with the job. No. We understand they come with the job. They need to get paid more because it come with the job. They understand. So the administrators in every school is going to be whatever social media platform, they're going to be talking about how we love the kids coming back and all that. Did you pay the teachers more that year? Not only in the sight of the Lord, with the stuff we got, providing for it honestly, but also in the sight of men. All right, let's continue. Go on to, again, this is now 2 Corinthians, so same book, different chapter, number 13, right? This is where you get this whole reprobate thing from. And again, we're crucified through Christ. And, verse 3, since ye seek a proof of Christ speaking in me, to which you word is not weak, but is mighty in you. All right. So what is it that looks mighty in you? Let's just see it. Because again, I didn't highlight it. Let's see if we can find it here real quick. Yeah. Verse 7. So 6 is, but I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates. So this is just gross folks. That's just the base way I'm going to say it. Reprobate has a higher term to it, but we're just going to go with gross. These are the weird people. They're against the rule, the laws of life, the laws of the universe, right? Okay. Now I pray to God that you do no evil, not that we should appear approved. So we're not saying do this stuff so that we look good for it, but that you should do that which is honest. Let's continue. Yo, man. See, again, you can deconstruct all day long. What about these verses, though? We're in Ephesians chapter 4. This is the, there is one body, one one spirit, even as you are called in one hope of your calling, right? Because this is the part where they go to a lot for this. Man, you hear these, some of us, maybe some of us who go to churches, we don't hear these verses. But again, man, he gave some apostles and prophets and some, right, evangelists and pastors, and we get stuck in that prophet thing and who's a prophesying and thus saith the Lord, right? Okay. Let's see if we can find it, right? Oh, man, why are you laughing, KJ? I'm laughing at the clowniness by which I said we. This is not just me, but again, we're willing to at least go this far to understand these truths, family. This man is operating in business affairs dishonestly, not honestly. It's just about time we called him out on it. That's it. And we start standing together against it. That you put off the former conversation of the old man. That's verse 22. Right? Verse 18 is talk about people whose heart are blinded. They're blinded. They're ignorant, willfully, many of them, but ignorant. They don't know. A lot of times we start talking to folks about history and stuff, including me. You just don't know. You're ignorant. Much of that is because the man's hiding information from us. Anyway, let me keep going. Because we've been on this for a minute now, and we gotta. Wherefore, put away lying. When you don't talk honestly about this life and you're trying to spin it with massive spin, you lying. The end of story. You calling me a liar? No, I didn't. The Bible is saying it. You put on the new man, which is after God, created in righteousness and true holiness. Set apartness is what holy means. So if you away from this mess, you really, really away from this mess. Wherefore, putting away lying. Speak every man, or with every man. It does say with afterwards. So speak every man truth with his neighbor. Don't you know, we sitting here talking about what's going on in Iran right now, and it's all holy and righteous. You speaking, never mind. And you want folks to go to church, bring a friend to church Sunday, bring a friend to church Sunday that we're going to do where we do it every year. And why? For what reason? Christ already told the Sanhedrin that these converts, these proselytes you're making them twice the child of hell. Why would I want to bring my friend somewhere where they're going to become worse? Let's continue. Ephesians chapter 5, right? For this is the chapter famous, we walking in love, right? And we were sometimes in darkness, but now we're in the light, and we should walk as children of the light, right? That's verse 8 in chapter 5. Verse 9, for the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness, righteousness, and truth. Again, how this is repeated in other places: justice, freedom, equality, right? But I guess we're only on the spiritual stuff. Proving what is acceptable unto the Lord, not having fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. But we're going to keep bringing them senators up in the church. You know that. Family, all these verses we're saying is about redeeming the time. You know that? This is redeeming, again, verse 16, redeem the time because the days are evil. How do you redeem the time? By operating honestly, speaking honestly on things. When we have respecter of persons, this is James 2, you have respect to him. So again, this is coming off of verse 2. This is the half brother of Jesus speaking. If anybody knows anything, it would be that person. I understand in deconstruction, they're saying that Jesus doesn't exist, so on and so forth. But again, the account of the person, we're just going to take it as is, right? So the account of the person who was able to tell off the Sanhedrin that you read about in the Gospels, his half brother is now saying this: for if there come into your assembly, a man with a gold ring and goodly apparel. This is James 2, verse 2. And off the King James Version. We like going straight back to the scene of the crime. Because again, we're doing all these other verses and not doing these. And there come in also a poor man in vile raiment, and you have respect to him, that weareth the gay clothing. Again, for those who keep calling homosexual people gay, they are happy. They happy with their life. You should be happy with yours. I don't want my kids learning nothing like. they're going to learn nothing but what you're showing them, which is a bunch of hate. But anyway, and say unto him, sit thou there in the good place. Hey, here's the front row for you. You can come on up here. We got the good seat for you. You can get all that anointing, right? And say to the, we're not saying nothing disrespectful to the good Lord above. We're talking about the mess that humans are doing with what have been given to us. And say to the poor, you stand over here. We got this here in the overflow seat for you. Sit there under my footstool. Are you not then partial in yourselves and are become judges? See, everybody talk about how we're supposed to be judging everybody. Okay, yeah. Are not become judges of evil thoughts? Verse 9, if you have respect to persons. Partiality is another way of saying this old school phrase. You commit sin and are convinced of the law as transgressors. I have to say this about Christians here. And again, I am one. Family, they weren't buddy-buddy with the Sanhedrin. Right? They're the hunted ones. Come on now. These ideas and laws of life, the universe, freedom, justice, and equality, these are hunted by the opposite. This is what you see in Genesis. That's the enmity between the serpent and the offspring of the woman. This is what you're looking at. We understand in different beliefs. They flip it and they say it the other way around. Family, still what is there is an enmity. There's a difference. The way Kendrick Lamar said it is not like us. Why? Because they're not like us. This isn't to do differences just for differences' sake. This is so you know what's going on. There's going to be a group out here who wants to rule over, and there's going to be a group out here who wants to share together. That's how this works. There's going to be a group out here who uses the thought of sharing together to rule over, and there's going to be a group out here who believes in truly sharing together. Which one are you? Which one am I? I think from the way I'm talking, y'all figured out which one I am. So this book, we said we were going to get into this book here. A school history of the, again, we're going to see this is the second time we're saying it. So we'll see if they catch us on this, right? A sermon of the importance of honesty. Yeah, this is more than just a sermon. But anyway, TikTok is funny. A school history of the Negro race in America. Okay, this was written by Edward A. Johnson, right? A brother back in the day. Right, let's just see here, you know, and to these workers, we got to say this, right? So the Warren notice that was given to these Pepsi workers that are being laid off for AI, we hope that y'all land on your feet. Again, it's normally warehouse workers. It's normally the ones that's producing for massa that always get screwed. That's how this works. So again, no different than we did an episode a couple of years ago about the dock workers in New York who were protesting. Again, the same kind of thing. They're trying to bring AI in. We got to stop doing, oh, AI is great. And it helped me make these stories and these pictures and these videos. And see, again, we're looking, the candy is coded. The poison is candied and coded. Tongue twister. The poison is wrapped and coated with candy, family. That's how it is. So it's nice and all well and good that we can use AI for all these things, but the man is never using any improvement to really help you for real, for real. It always, we talking from an historical standpoint, it's always to hurt you. How many different inventions we keep talking about every Black History Month that Black folks have done? There's a list. There ain't three. There's a list. Right? We're the ones who keep saying this whole nation has been built off our labor. Okay. They used labor, which is a good thing, to misuse it so that they profit off of it. That's what it is. You may get a little check. Maybe. Same thing with our elders who sit here and keep glorifying massa. We do it every time we vote. And at the end of the day, guess what? You getting any more money in your SSI check? I know you're going to give excuses. We saying, do you get any more money in your SSI check? You put in a whole lot of work, 60, 70 years of work. Body's so worn down from working, you really can't even enjoy that thing. You stuck in the doctor's office, making more money for them in the doctor's office. But I digress. KJ, the doctors and nurses need to get paid. And shout out to the nurses, man. Shout out to nurses. Again, man, with the worker that's doing this thing for us is really doing this thing for us. We hope these people at PepsiCo, right, land on their feet. And we hope that this mess here that may get worse, hopefully it gets better, right? May get worse. We hope that there is a covering for folks as they go along. These folks got families and stuff and lives, family. This is dangerous. Out there in good old Tulsa, Oklahoma. We already know about the history. We just talked about it, the early onset of this, the history of Oklahoma. Let's do this here. We're gonna play these videos because I done a whole bunch of talking here. We're gonna play this here and go from there about this book.
Family, what I'm about to show you is not an opinion. It's documented history. In 1895, a school history of the Negro race in America, a school textbook, it literally says that when John Smith governed Jamestown, there were none but white inhabitants, and they were lazy. So much.
All right, pause. So the word that is being used in this is not lazy. Okay. The word that is used is indolent. Okay. So KJ, what the hell does indolent mean? It means it's an adjective for describing activity, right? Adjective describing something, right? Lazy, idle, or again, avoiding physical work or effort. The man, we can do this with the employer that because they're the boss, they don't have to work. Devil a liar. We're okay having this set up, right? Or living in an environment and agreeing to where it's set up. Because we don't speak out against it, man. This is what it is. We're agreeing to it. Where we are the ones that are going to be working on that railroad and they're going to be sitting back with the whip, whooping that ass when we don't do what we're supposed to do and we already overworking, working for them. This is not to overthrow nothing. This is to create balance, family, that they're going to fight you against. When you look at the creation of Labor Day, do you know how many workers, even people who were high up that stood with the workers, do you know how much they were retaliated against? Anytime that you stand up for yourself, the violence come from them. When Black Lives Matter was made, and we get into this whole Antifa thing, that was the reaction, right? Where, oh, all this violent stuff was, that's the sickness put into the natural thing because the lives of the group that are hurting matter. They do. And in an environment where you want to make in a society where you want to make it better, because we're only as strong as the weakest of the group. If you would want to bring them up, family, if you want to make your society better, they would matter at that moment, correct? This is normally where when you're skirting around an issue that you get all these excuses that you're hearing from folks. So indolent, back in Jamestown, it's just because he's talking the thing here, you know. And shout out to brother here. This is off or the sister who reposted this, Toffee Butterfly here on TikTok, right? Thank you for sharing the truth, sis. Page 20, verse. This is Bible to me anyway. We probably could say verse. Page 20. It's a 200-page book. Not a lot, right? When John Smith became the governor of Jamestown Colony, some people are going to fact check a lot of this. And some of these things are a little bit off, I agree. But some of this is very true. There were none but white inhabitants. Now, we know when you're talking about Jamestown, natives, people are living here. Okay. So it wasn't just them, but primarily, right? It's going to be the well-to-do. When they say white inhabitants, it was the well-to-do folks there. Okay. This is historical in the books. This isn't making up nothing. Their indolent habits caused him to make a law declaring, I had to use the scriptures to do it, he who would not work should not eat. And again, of course, what it says in the script with that verse is just, you got to work. This lazy thing with the bosses is horrible, family. And again, they make increase. Do you read how many different companies are you going to read about that have made $4 billion profits during inflation? How many do you think this year is going to cut? Because they're going to show you. See, when the conqueror conquers, they show off that's how they do. They show their stuff. When they unalive deer, they show it off. Unalive a moose. This is the mantles, right? Come on now. Post it up in their office somewhere. This is what they do. Sarah Bartman's image is still in something. You make it, see again, right? You make fun of the woman and want to make her look good for you so you can use her as a smexual object, but then also make a caricature of the thing that you like. That's how sick the thing is. So Sarah Bartman, y'all can look up Sarah Bartman, right? I want to say Baaa's. So Baartman. Black woman with the big derriere, right? I like big butts and I cannot lie. And sure enough, so do the white T man. But you're going to make a character of it because you don't really truly respect. You kind of do, which isn't really respect. They make fun of a thing, family, that nothing means anything to them. Unless you're taking from them to do right by the others that were already harmed, then it means something to them. But that's just greed based. That's got nothing to do with doing righteousness and holiness. Hell no. A law declaring that he shouldn't work, shouldn't eat. Prior to this time, the colony had proved a failure and continued so till the introduction of the slaves, under whose labor it soon grew prosperous and recovered from its hardships. Again, when you see your brothers and sisters put up this shirt and wear this shirt proudly, stereotyped as lazy ever since we stopped working for free, just believe it to be true historically, family. That's not conjecture. That's not their opinion. That's what happened. And we're done with it. Again, this is a book that you can find called A School History of the, and get your hands on a copy of it before the man start playing around and you can't. I searched it online off this video, but A School History of the Negro Race in America. Right. Again, family, we more concerned about the rapture and all this other kind of stuff here, which is embarrassing. It's embarrassing, family, right? You know? And for black folks to be up in this, do y'all remember Sherry Shepherd last year? A whole bunch of folks who was bugging out listening to preachers, imbalanced preachers. This is not nothing against the holiness of the church or any of that. If you do care about the assembling together of the brethren, you gonna speak out against this garbage. Do y'all remember Sherry Shepherd last year? We're gonna end on this. Let's just play this clip and go from there.
I didn't plan on being here today. I thought the rapture was going to take me up to heaven. I'm not going to lie. Have y'all heard about this? The rapture, well, this is how it started. A pastor in South Africa said Jesus came to him in a dream and told him he was going to return to earth on September 23rd and take his true believers to heaven. So everybody on TikTok started spreading the word that the rapture was coming yesterday. I believe in the rapture. I believe it was coming. But this one, I didn't fall for the okie doke. Because I have been through this before. I used to be in a religion that told me that the rapture was coming. They told us to get our house in order. And I said, why? I'm not going to need a house. Where I am going, I don't need those worldly possessions. So, yeah, I didn't pay my bills. I didn't pay my taxes. I did not pay my traffic tickets. Because why would I pay anything when the world's about to end? That's what it was. So let me tell you something. My registration had been expired for 2 years. I had, seriously, $10,000 worth of unpaid moving violations. Because when they would stop you, they give you a ticket. I never showed up to court. It becomes a bench warrant. And so I didn't show up to court because, again, why would I show up to court when the world is about to end and I'm about to get taken up to heaven? Jesus don't care about no parking tickets. Well, the world never ended. I went to jail, and you can tell I was not expecting to go to jail because when the police pulled me over, I was wearing this. Yeah. I was on my way to perform at the Comedy Store in Hollywood, and I didn't know, so they picked me up. I went to jail for 8 days, and because I fell for the rapture, I became a hardened criminal. So thank God we are all still here. The show's still going on.
Again, family, in closing, right? This is Romans chapter 12. This is normally where the preacher's going to get to you about verse 1. Beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. We've talked about this before in this podcast, right? Verse 2, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may be able to prove what is good, acceptable, perfect will of God. Family, did you hear all these people just laughing over this mess? Laughing over it. The seat of the scornful is alive and well in the minds and hearts of people. It's time for us to come up off from the syrup and start taking the natural medicine that comes from this earth to help us heal from this mess. We're going to have to listen to each other's pains. We're going to have to listen to each other's anger. And we're going to have to respond in kind with that which is helping us reconcile. Another verse in the script talks about the ministry of reconciliation. We're going to have to repair some breaches here if we're going to move forward, especially with the onslaught of the enemy that you see in real time out here. They're okay taking away your job. They're okay restricting what you learn. That's why you got the man pulling down slavery, images of slavery in the historical record of slavery off of billboards and stuff. That's why that's okay. And for as long as they're in charge, it will increase. And we don't care which side of the aisle they're talking about. Both sides is messed up. If you just heard Dr. Fred Price say, don't sit there and say you care about me and you're not okay with us dwelling together in peace with the smile on your face. When you get all the way down in this chapter, though, when you get past all that part that they shout and run and holler about, right? Not slothful in business, fervent in the spirit, serving the Lord. That's verse 11. Rejoicing in the hope, patient in tribulation. The word patient, we'd gotten into it before. Patient is dealing with this idea of being willing to sacrifice yourself during times of problems. Mass is unwilling. Again, you just saw the word lazy. They're lazy. They're unwilling to put in the work. They're willing to exploit yours. They're unwilling to put in that work, though. Whenever they say that they got to go put in the work, what's the first thing they tell you? What they need you for? Devil a liar. You do need me. You just need to start putting in that work. Continuing on here, continuing instant in prayer. Distributing to the necessity of the saints, given to hospitality. Not saying that you got to be a member of somebody's church, even if a person is playing a prank on you, saying that they need baby formula, like that foolishness we just failed last year. Sitting there agreeing with all these preachers like that any of that mess made sense. Yeah, we know there's sheep's and wolves clothing. Again, be given to hospitality. We didn't say be doormats. Given the hospitality. So when you saw that happen last year, that's not the time to be like, oh, we're not supposed to. Bless them which persecute you. We'll leave that alone because we understand the stumbling block there. Again, we're not supposed to be doormats. Okay. But we're also not out here trying to act. This is for black folks who keep trying to give it back to the man that way. It's time for us to stand together. We know the ones who's persecuting us. It's time for us to stand together, stay on what we need, right? For the police to act properly when we're in our neighborhoods and for us to get our own policing. Just like the Light Horse. I believe it was the Light Horse group way back in the day with our native brothers and sisters. Now, we understand that they operated with the cavalry and the U.S. government to an extent there, but the willingness for us to have our own deal and seriously start getting involved in having it. Rejoice with them that do rejoice. Weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind toward each other. And then you get down to verse 17. Recompense no person evil for evil. Now, I did not say we don't defend ourselves. I said don't repay anybody evil for evil. Provide things honest. When they come to this rapture thing, family, leave it alone. We got work to occupy till I return. We got work to do down here. Recompense no person evil for evil, but provide all things without bias. without deceit, in the sight of who? All people, which is also honorable before God. And that's where we're going to stop today. Family, thank you for walking this road with your boy today. We understand the stuff we're talking about is one of these hotbed topics, and it's this, that, and the other. But this is the truth that can set us free, right? We hope and pray that y'all share this, man. Share this thing. This is let the truth be known, right? Thank you for those who rock with your boy. We will talk together again soon. And until then, and as always, look to find the beauty in a different view.